I think people need to hear your story too. I think this is a great start, but I think they also need to realize, like, yeah, you're talking about having a housekeeper. Yes, you're talking about having a nanny. But you guys didn't come from like, oh, we were born with money, and so this is
$0. Bobby's family lived on, food stamps and no lights and stuff like that. And my family, my parents came from Cuba in 1959 or 60 with $0 and 7 children. So my mom couldn't go work. It was impossible that they could put 7 children.
And you're both were raised in Hialeah?
In Hialeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for all those from Miami, you guys are aware where Hialeah is.
Progresa.
There you go. And so, I think people need to hear the come up, because while we're talking about where I'm at in life, which is a lot more financially stable than when you guys were having kids.
100%.
Getting my wife to get a nanny is just a function of having her probably talk to you, frankly. But
yes, I would
just
love
believe that this needs to happen, right? Not just for her, but for us, right? But I'm at a different place in my life where the money part isn't hard.
Is not.
How do you do all of this? What was the come up for you and Bobby to kind of reach where you're at and to be able to have the mindset like, okay, I don't care if we need to go. There was no Uber back then, but we need to go do Uber to pay for the nanny.
Whatever
so we
it was,
can continue
2 to
to
3
build.
jobs, it didn't
Right.
matter.
And you guys would do that.
Yes, 100%. We did that.
Right.
And yes, so that all of you know, I'm a 10th grade dropout. Bobby is a 9th grade dropout. And we come from a very humble background. Like our families had no money. They worked very hard and made very little money. So nothing was handed to Bobby and I in a platter. Nothing. It was us two. When I met Bobby, he had this really positive mindset. And if everybody knows Bobby, it's
Shocker.
PMA all day, every day.
Yeah.
That is very true. How we were able to get through life with $0 and 0 education.
Yeah.
But it was just about the mindset. And when we decided that we were going to go into business and that we wanted this future for ourselves, we saw very big goals. We had huge goals and didn't know how to get there. But we knew we were going to get stepping stones to get there somehow. How long it was going to take us, we weren't worried. But we knew that we were going to head in that highway and we had to pick roles because we did bump into each other many times, broke that car completely, crashed it. Like
crash.
not just the wheel. I mean, it was the whole entire car because we didn't have, no one in front of us to pave that road for us. We were on rocky, unpaved roads with holes and 19, when we got married, 19 and 23.
That is so wild to me. Being someone that got married
With
at
a
38
baby.
years old. Oh, man. You guys, God bless you too. But I want to fast forward for all the people that may not even know the story. How this story ends so far, year to date, this moment. They've had a 10-figure exit in business, just so you guys do the math. Just think of the commas and the zeros in 10 figures. You guys currently own 2,200 or 3,200 doors?
About 2,500.
25?
Yeah.
Like...
It's a about $750 million portfolio. Yeah.
So I just wanted to fast forward for all you guys. Yeah, difficult start because there's so many people out there that will create why they can't.
100%.
And you and Bobby didn't. And that's why I wanted to fast forward to where you're at today while you're sitting in front of me. You have this massive portfolio, almost $1 billion worth of real estate. You've already had a 10-figure exit on a business, which is incredible. These are things coming from a 9th grade dropout, a 10th grade dropout, not married at 19,
with
no
a child.
money, with a child, no money, and just all that's between your 2 ears.
PMA all day, every day, the non-refundable minutes and stack and rack, urgent massive action. I mean, that we were just like, those were our mantras. We lived based on that every single day of our life. And I know a lot of people might say, oh, that's so cliche. Oh, you can't just wake up and say, I have a positive mindset and I'm going to get there. But that's what happens, that they just
but
say,
you do.
I just have to have a positive mindset. No, it's like you really have to believe it come from inside your soul.
That's it.
And that mind will definitely shift. But you have to have that big why. That big why has to be there. And Bobby's, really, to tell you the truth, if it wasn't for Bobby, I don't know that I would have had this big why because my family didn't come from that. Or Bobby's, but Bobby's mom and Bobby's uncle were their mindset was, I do whatever I put my mindset, I'm going to get it done. They just didn't know how to really use it. They put it towards being an employee instead of putting it to be an employer. But Bobby just said, I'm not going to do what my family did. I'm not living on welfare. I'm not living on Section 8. I'm not going to be struggling, to have no electricity in the house for weeks. So he was just like, I'm not doing that. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do opposite. And Bobby always says, your biggest mentors are who you don't want to be.
Interesting.
So for him, that was his biggest mentor was, I don't want to be where my family was. So whatever I need to do opposite, that's where I'm going.
If I really think, so I grew up with alcoholic mother, father, and stepfather. Everyone has a story. So I had a tough childhood because of alcohol. But if I think about it, that was my biggest learning curve and lesson was I've created today what I knew I didn't want dealing with as a kid. So that's an interesting point of view.
So I was your mentor.
For sure. 100%.
And how did you didn't even realize that was your mentor,
it
right?
took shape in a different way. I realized that, yes, right, that was the best learning is
best learning.
Because now I'm thankful for it, but I didn't realize it was my mentor. I was thankful that my mother and father, because now where I'm at.
Where you're, yeah,
but that's
exactly.
the mentor.
But that's what happens.
Great.
A lot of people don't. So us, Bobby and I, being so young, we got pregnant 6 months into knowing each other. And I wanted to have an abortion, and Bobby was totally against it because we had no money. We had known each other for 6 months. I'm like, I'm going to be a single mom.
Right.
Struggling. I'm like, that's not what I want from my life. And he finally convinced me, and thank God, I pray to God every day, thank you for giving me the blessing because of my daughter, Priscilla, at 33 years old today, has been our biggest blessing. And, she always brags about it. Like, yeah she was a mistake per se, but has been our biggest blessing because if it wasn't for her, I don't think we would have pushed as hard as we did that young and get through all the obstacles that we went through in life because it was not easy.
Give me a handful. I mean, at that age, like I can't even here's why I can't fathom. Because basically my entire 20s and 30s, I fucked off. I made a lot of money. I was in the club in Vegas, popping bottles, in the club in Scottsdale, like I was that guy.
Yeah.
I can't fathom being 20, 21, 22, 23 years old with a child at all.
Yeah,
right?
you're what Bobby calls flash dancing.
Oh, 100%. But I own it.
Yeah,
I knew
that's
that guy.
fun. It's, you know what, that made you, I guarantee you that you won't do that again now in your stage of your life of spending 20. We were just talking about that today. You spend $20,000, $30,000 on a weekend on a club. What does that
My
bring
accountant
back
would
to you?
light me up on a Monday.
What does
Like,
that bring
what the
back
fuck
to you?
is this credit card bill I just got for like $19,000 between Friday and Saturday? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just having fun.
So, I tell a lot of people, that was my biggest blessing because I would have been a person. Sure. I love to have fun. I love to party. I'm Cuban, I have that.
I get it.
That salsa inside of me.
That's it.
But this is where I say it's a blessing because Bobby and I, number one, we didn't have the money. We couldn't go out clubbing like that. We didn't have that kind of money back then. But it allowed us to really grow up and really look at our future in a way of what are we going to build now strong. And I love to tell this to people is build your foundation with concrete, not with sand, not with wood, because once you start building on that foundation, if level 1 collapse, you're not going nowhere if it's made out of concrete. You're going to that first level and let's start building again. If it collapses in the 5th floor, again, where are you coming to? To a concrete, solid foundation where you could start building again. And that happened to Bobby and I many times. We didn't build the business that we had, that we sold.
Yeah.
That didn't start from the beginning. Yeah. We went through many failures before we got to this business. And then it took us 20 something years to be able to build what we did for it to be able to be sold.
But respectfully, people feel like you just come in, you build it, you sell it off, and you have this big exit.
Oh my God.
But they don't know like enough of the build and the grow and the mistakes and the failures and the losses and the trying, and they don't get those things. So that's where I want.
I had to move back to my mom's. Well, Bobby and I and my daughter, we had to move back to my mom's house twice in this journey that we had.
I love hearing that. Not because I wanted that for you.
No,
but that's reality.
And it was for us. It was the failures. What helped us be able to create this business that we sold. Because every time we failed at something, we didn't sit there and dig a hole and put the sand over our heads or go into a bottle of water and just drown. No, we were like, okay, we need to sit down. What did we do wrong? Why did this not go forward the way that we thought it was?
Right.
So we would take down and say, okay, now the next one, we cannot do this. We need to do it this other way.
Did you jump around different businesses?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yes.
And then a lot of people feel like they just need to know, like, what am I doing for the rest of my life? I need to know before I do anything. I'm the opposite. Like, especially when you're young, I say, fuck around, try it all. Kind of a Gary Vee type of thing. Like, you're young. You don't really, you guys had a lot to lose. You had a kid, but like, in a general sense, figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you're passionate about. Obviously, once you guys got into the space that you found it,
Yes.
you and Bobby could pour on your special sauce.
Yep.
But how many different iterations of businesses did you go through?
Oh, we went through many.
Yeah.
Went through many. It was not just finance, this world of finance. We wanted to get into real estate from day one, but back then we didn't even know about mentors or anything like that. But there was no money. We didn't have money. We didn't have the financial knowledge to say, how do we get into? So we thought by getting into different businesses, trying to create what we call stack and rack, that we would be able to buy a single family home, to rent it or to flip it or whatever. But we didn't know how to get in there. So we didn't try it at the beginning. We tried different businesses that Bobby's always been about cash flow.
Okay.
Always. Any business we do needs to bring in revenue, like immediately.
Yeah.
So we would try this and obviously we failed a couple of times, but we finally got to knowing, okay, we need to find something that we could really put in all these lessons that we have learned and how to scale. And we did not know by no means that we were going to scale the way that we scaled. We just thought, okay, we'll make a couple of millions and, we'll be good.
Yeah.
But once we started learning that it was not about creating millions, it was about creating the solidness of a business so that that trade could continue and not fail. That's when we started realizing, like, okay, forget about being rich. This is not our goal at all. This is not what we want. What we want to do is we want to create an empire that we could say we built something so solid because of our knowledge and because we were so focused on it that we wanted to be something big.
And the business is still around today?
Oh, and it does amazing.
Right.
It does amazing. Our brother-in-law still a partner in the business, a third partner, and they're doing amazing. The business continues to grow. Right now, it's way worth more than what we sold out. But we're okay with that